What is going on, guys? How you doing, Robert? Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. You betcha. They come every week. It's crazy, just like that. It's like clockwork. Like clockwork Wednesdays, eh? So today, we kind of thought it'd be fun to do something a little different and try the whole Zoom Hangout thing and invite some random people in. So I made a post in the Reef Dudes Facebook group, and whoever responded on there that they want to join, I will PM you guys the link shortly if you guys can join in.
Hybrids now, and so I'm like stuck on that. But you know, I do like the lemon peels with the blue eye ring, man. Those are cool. You know, the flames are hard to. I'm a sucker for orange, man. So the flames are hard to pass up when I see those.
Okay, they're saying yes, sound, but this is really just me turning on my PC speakers to go through the mic. So talk for a second. Does Robert sound okay?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
All right, so this is like super ghetto, so I'll have to figure this out for next time, but at least we're working for now.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds great. Wait, I'm going to turn this down. Can you still hear Robert? Talk for a sec.
Hello, world. Whoa.
Yep, all good. So I don't know if which one's going good enough. Hopefully.
All right.
We'll find out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Robert. So hopefully sounds good. Hopefully we're back in business. I am going to send this Zoom link to the people that want it so you guys can join up.
Oh, there's the chat. I was looking for the chat. There we go.
So yeah, we thought it'd be something kind of fun to do the whole Zoom thing today. And
yeah, it'd be fun. Hopefully you guys join with cameras. We'll have some back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was actually inspired by one that Terrence from Neptune did. That's where I kind of got the idea. He did it with the club down in Florida. I think it's the FMAC. Yeah. I can't remember the name, but it's the Florida club, the big one. And yeah, he did a nice Zoom interview down there and had this nice presentation and everything, and then did a Q&A at the end. It looked like a lot of fun. There's a bunch of people and all joined together on their cameras and having some back and forth. It's fun to see reactions and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
Hopefully we get some good questions today, and we have some good combos. Talk about fish, man.
I think so. All right, looks like James is joining. So yeah, if you guys want to join in, feel free to turn on the mic or turn on your video. More fun that way. I'm just messaging the few people that said they wanted to join earlier today. And if you guys got any questions in the chat, as always, feel free to ask them.
You know what?
You're going to have a whole panel of people that answer them today.
Yeah, hopefully I'll open my chat too here just in case somebody asks me for the link. Can you send me the link, Devin?
I sure can.
Oh, I guess it's in my... You already sent it to me. It's that same one, right?
Yeah, you got it twice now. Double the fun.
All right. Cool.
Oh. Had to jump, but we'll be back. Okay.
What happened? Oh, there we go.
All right, so I just posted it, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully that works.
Okay, cool. Hey, so you have a cleaner wrasse in there. How long you had that bad boy?
Oh, for ages. I always have my tank.
Yeah?
I love those guys. They're
nice.
They're good little kind of medics for the tank, just to keep care of everything.
Yeah. How do you feed it?
Just feeds everything.
Feeds everything? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. That's cool.
So I feed my tank mysis every day, and literally almost every fish goes for it. And then the same thing with at night, usually mysis or whatever else I throw in there, and everything just goes crazy.
Yeah. You know, we can talk about food for a minute. Kind of had food on the mind all day. So Ryan posted a question about some like fish food FAQs today in the group, and tons of questions. Thank you, everybody who submitted questions. So the goal there is we'll try to, I'm not sure we can get to every single one, but ideally we can make quick little videos and I'll answer the questions. That way, you know, a little bit different approach to the Q&A, and we can create some, you know, some content that you can come back and reference, and we'll have, we're going to take advantage of some of the like learning units. They have these tools inside the Facebook groups that are really cool. Nice. So yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, that'll be handy. Yeah, I haven't actually seen her play with the little learning things, but it's kind of cool. It's a good way to do little lessons.
You know, it's a problem. Like, so when we were exploring it and everything, there's not a lot of groups that use it. I'm sure. I mean, it's new, you know, so there's more and more, you know, people that take advantage of it. But it's interesting. You have to really sort of to make it useful. I think our platform or our topic, you know, the focus of reef tanks and the education stuff is perfect for it. But I can imagine there's a lot of different groups that really can't really find a use for it. So hopefully it develops and gets better in time. But it's essentially a way to organize posts and reference different educational posts, so you can group them and categorize them. So when users are in the group, they can go back and reference them just via like tabs, or you can do like a learning unit where it's like a sequence of posts that you go through and try to teach concepts.
That's kind of cool. Well, it's a good way to do it, because I mean, just because I've been helping moderate, you do see the same question like every single day. So
oh my gosh, yes. And so yeah, being able to reference some of that or have it there natively in Facebook is kind of the thing, I mean, yeah, we could send links all day. I mean, gosh, Ryan and Randy have videos on tons of topics, and we link those all the time. But it's going to be cool to have, some references inside the group that we can spread around. And then also, too, like users can help each other, because once you familiarize yourself with that learning unit, you're like, oh, just check out the learning unit. It's like the second post in there taught me this. I think it should be cool. I'm excited for it.
That'll be super handy. Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited for it. Oh, you know what? There is something I can show you guys. We got something really cool. If I can find them. Where did I put them?
What do you got?
Got some stickers.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's the one issue is I don't remember where I put them.
Are these some fancy new BRS stickers that you made?
Well, there's one sticker that you guys have already seen, but then we got some Ask BRS TV stickers. Oh my gosh,
nice.
where did I put them? I think they're down here somewhere.
Hiding somewhere in the archives, eh?
Yeah, no, I've got them.
Hiding somewhere in the archives, eh? Yeah, no.
What's going on, Robert, Sid?
That's very kind of like
Hello.
echo.
Okay.
It's very kind of like...
So, one person. There we go. What's going on, Rick? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent, thanks.
I'll close some blinds so you can see me.
Hold on, I gotta
Sounds
mute
good.
this.
There we go.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live stream.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing today?
What up? From Louisiana.
Hey,
What's
buddy.
happening? Good old Louisiana. I was supposed to be there like a couple months ago. Dang.
Yep.
Trips
yep.
all
I was looking
canceled.
forward to you coming and checking out my tank.
Yeah? Nice airplane?
Who's your helper, Sid?
That's my little man.
Nice.
Yeah, you see them?
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, it tastes like ours.
Is that
Oh, there we go.
your little reefer in the making?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the little reefer is really cute.
It's a cute
It's
little
funny.
guy.
I just got off of the FaceTime thing with Neptune. And now you live. all these
Right
live
on.
things.
So we got Ask BRS TV stickers.
Very nice.
Excited
Very
for
nice.
those. So do your fellow group members a favor and treat them nice and give them good answers and help each other out. And
Come out here.
you might get a
Awesome.
sticker in the mail.
That's how you get it. It's just by being a good poster.
Being awesome, yeah, pretty much.
I like it.
And then Mr. Chili camp stickers too, which I love these ones.
Those are pretty cool.
Hopefully we can make a Mr. Chili fishing sticker too. That's kind of
Oh, yeah.
something I'm excited about.
The secret.
I'm pushing for it. So
Yeah. So I like your idea of doing the random stickers for like good poster things. I might
yeah,
I might
man.
steal
People have been
that.
asking for stickers forever, and we finally got. It took a little bit to get them, but now that we got them, and so with the size of the group and everything, we kind of had to figure out a way to reward group members, but also how to get them out there feasibly. We can't mail out 35,000 stickers, so so yeah. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with it.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna steal your idea. So
Oh yeah, dude.
I've been asked for stickers probably like 200 times, and I never had
Yeah.
one. So I finally broke down and made some. I just got a sample pack because they're on for like 80% off. I'm like, woo, $20.
Nice. There you go.
It does exist now.
You have them?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa! They're like like holographic or reflective? Holographic, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, so I
Very
got a
cool.
little sample pack to try them out.
I want one. I got to cover up
Hey,
this.
Devin, can you show that back and can you keep talking? Because for mobile phones, you need to be talking in order for your video to be visible.
Here, I can make a grid view. There you go. How's that?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so I will keep talking while I show it. So
that's right.
this is my prototype sticker that I might actually turn into something, and I got a little cool holographic one.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I don't know how well it shows up
Cool.
on camera,
Yeah.
but
It's awesome.
Big old bubble tip anemone in that tank.
Yeah, that's a nice tank.
Yeah, it is.
The tank is gone. It was there.
Yeah, looks like the
Raj is hiding it.
yeah.
Everyone wants stickers now. Please send me stickers.
Hey, Devin, there's
So,
two
Robert-
Roberts up here.
There is.
Okay, so there's another Robert in the group, right? It's not like a.
No.
I was thinking that might be our audio problem.
No.
Yeah. So somebody can ask a question. Go for it.
Yeah, Robert, do you have a Radeon over your plants?
Do I have a Radeon? No, just a window, man. Just a window. They're doing really well though. For like, gosh, how long have they been here? So I started collecting them. Got when I moved in May. Yeah, so it's only been about 3 months. I'm getting quite a bit of growth on them, so it's exciting.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, thanks. I think. Yeah, they're not really anything cool I can show off, but they're houseplants. Keep me happy, you know.
Nice. All right. Okay, a couple of people are asking a password. This is the first time I've ever really used Zoom, so I'm like a complete Zoom amateur. So I'm figuring it out as I go today.
So Devin, the password was in the end of the link. So the link has the meeting ID, and then the back end of it has the password. So if people will look at it, then it starts with a capital letter. I can't remember what. I already left it.
Okay.
I think it's
So-
PWD equal sign, and then it'll be after the equal sign.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's pretty long. I had to type it twice.
Oh, yikes.
Oh wow.
So you can't just click on it. You actually have to type that in. That's not very friendly.
Well, I did it from my phone to my computer.
Oh no. Yeah.
That makes
People on,
Clicking would have been better.
yes.
yeah. People on their phones might have trouble with that.
All right. I apologize. This is like a first time prototype of it today just for fun. So
Yeah. I
Hi,
mean,
Darren.
I didn't have to enter it. That's for sure. I just clicked from the link, and it was good to go.
Yeah.
can we keep corals with a grouper? I've never had a grouper. I'm assuming they're going to be careless and potentially break stuff and hit it, but I don't know.
They're big. They might mouth it up and spit it out a little bit, but they're not going to eat it. They'll eat your other fish, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, this is
Big
true.
old fish. They will eat fish. They get giant. Most of them. I don't know that there is any small groupers.
Yeah, any small fish will basically be snacks. Like they're
Anything
just
that
not
fits in
safe.
his mouth. That's a general rule.
Exactly. So I would personally avoid that one myself. Oh, okay. Random question. First salt. So I've never had this happen until last week because I ran out of like the Brightwell salt that I normally use, and I kind of did a bit blend of Instant Ocean and one of the Red Seas and stuff. And
Oh
it's
my
just like,
gosh.
well,
Terrible.
I was out of salt. You got to do what you got to do. You got to scrounge for the bottom of the buckets.
Don't water change.
But it was like nasty brownie stuff all over the surface when I mixed it and all this other stuff. I was like, what is this? Like, is that normal for some salts to get that?
Yeah, it's a huge thing. Like it happens to all sorts of people. When Randy and Ryan tested all that salt mix, they it's like we didn't send out any samples and like testing what it is, but I mean the general assumption is it's just contaminants or impurities. So you've got multiple grades of chemical purities, and so when you have like pharmaceutical grade, food grades, and then all the way down, and that's what you're going to see is a big difference in a lot of the salt mixes is the purity of those elements that they mix together. And so I think in some of the salts where that happens is you have some component, maybe it's 1, 2, all of them just have some impurities. Maybe it's just per that batch, they're buying like one giant bag at a time, and it could be that particular batch has a little bit higher concentration of whatever it might be, and then that causes that film. There's also a phenomenon too. So not a phenomenon. But there's also so if any of the salts have like an organic material in them. So Tropic Marin, the bioactive, and they have another one that's got some like carbon dosing stuff in it. And then I think the Red Sea salt, the Coral Pro, is like this. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on Red Sea, but I know Tropic Marin. They've got some like organic material in it, and so if you store it, then it that the material will start breaking down or bacteria will grow on it, and so sometimes you can get specks. That's what you see in the sometimes like the all-in-one or just some of the other additives. I think Nopox gets it sometimes, where you'll see like little specks inside the actual additive itself. And from what I understand is it's the organic materials, is bacteria is getting to it or just starting to break down and stuff. So that's why it's not a good idea to store those salt mixes, or exactly why they tell you to use it within 4 or 5 hours.
Okay. Huh, interesting. So mine stores for like a month, right? So because I do tiny daily water changes, so it stores for a while. And then like shout out to Brightwell because that one was super clean. My bins were good. Now they're like disgusting and I got to clean them. But I just never seen
my neomarine gets built up pretty bad.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't mind it though. It doesn't bother me anything.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what cool thing is running like a sediment filter through it. Devin, were you gonna do that? It was like run the sediment.
I'm gonna do that. I got a huge reactor I bought from BRS that I'm gonna do
There
that
you
with.
go.
Nice.
And I'm also gonna do that after my carbon reactor too.
Someone was posting about that. I don't know if that was today at BRS or somewhere. One of the groups someone was posting asking about if like your auto top off pump could force it through a sediment filter, which I'm not sure. Like I don't know how much it needs.
Yeah, I mean, depending on it's the pump that would matter there. But any pump's not gonna be able to do it. You'd have to get some sort of. Oh well, you could use those. I guess a booster pump. But what's the other ones? The ones that you go inline after to fill a pressure tank.
Yeah.
Not peristaltic.
There's those like pressure
that's gonna
pumps.
bug me.
Like they use them in RVs and stuff. Like that would work.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I used a booster pump one time to set up like a drip line for plants, and it worked great, man. I mean, it's weird when it comes out in little spurts, because it like pumps. But no, it was great because I needed to run this line from basically I had a tank full of goldfish and guppies in the backyard, and I wanted to feed the garden bed in front of the house, so it was like I don't know 50 yards or something. Quarter-inch tubing running that far, 150 feet. It's
a good chunk.
It's tough to get that kind of pressure, and I wasn't about to mount a $200 dosing pump outside. So yeah, found an old booster pump, man, and it totally worked. It was great.
So you can use a booster pump in saltwater?
No, well, this was freshwater. It wasn't saltwater. I would probably it would probably get rusted or corroded somehow.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I use a filter sock on my mixing station with Red Sea Blue Bucket.
Yeah.
And it pulls a lot out. It gets really dirty, but the tank's clean. But I just have it when I'm mixing, it goes through a filter sock and just hung the filter sock at the top of the return pump.
It's an easy way to do it.
Station. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it collect a lot of stuff?
It does. Yeah, it gets pretty nasty. It looks like pure mud after a while, but the tank stays clean. So is the issue with the sediment, the buildup in the tank, or what's going into the aquarium, do you think?
Just in the tank. Like, I honestly don't think much of it gets in there. Normally, like in the past, when I've used like reef crystals and stuff, after a while, like the brute container would get all brown and nasty on the edges. But this is the first time I've ever seen stuff floating on the surface of it, like weird little brownie bits floating. That's what kind of messed with me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen some horrific pictures. It's like, I just made this salt, and it's like
that was me. I've never had it so bad.
Was that you? Okay, maybe it was. Probably. Yeah, it was recent. It was a gnarly protein slick is what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And it was all sort of like broken up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had it that nasty either.
Okay.
I've had it like evident in a filter sock because I'll try to pump it through a filter sock when it goes from mixing to the tank. And I think this next time around I might do the sediment filter idea.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to do it. I mean, it makes sense to me. I'm purifying the way in. I don't know how much of a difference it makes at the end of the day because like the odds are like the stuff in your tank, it's fine. Your skimmer or whatever would deal with it.
But extra clarity. Chad Boston, Boston Aquatics, he works at Bulk Reef Supply for us. He runs an inline sediment filter between his return pump and display.
I've seen that. I wonder how often you change that.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that when I sent BRS an email asking about running one after my carbon reactor, and that's what he told me. He ran it in his inline.
Yeah, that's probably Chad. I don't
think it'll work on my tank, but
I was gonna say if you feed heavy or your tank looks anything like my tanks have in the past, man, like I have to change it. I mean, I have to change out filter socks 30 days.
I think 650 gallons. I can't run that through a sediment filter.
Yeah.
Swapping that baby weekly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is you should be changing out. Chad said he gets a month, and I'm thinking, well, maybe your first one, second one, you change out quick, and it'll start to last longer after that.
That's kind of like the filter roller, though. Like same idea, where the longer you have it, it seems to last longer and longer and longer, which is cool.
Right. Yeah.
Would the sediment filter pull anything good, like trace elements, out of the water that you want?
I don't.
No.
I think they're too tiny. I don't think it would matter for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little particles of food.
What's the smallest you can get? I think is like a half micron, or like what we can get, in the industry.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the smallest micron sediment, but the smallest I've seen, I think, is a half micron.
So random tangent on that one. So I swapped to 1 micron filters instead of 5 in my RDI. They work well, but then they just like stop. It's like work, stop. It's like crazy how much quicker I burn through them compared to 5.
Are you using just like 1 micron sediment, 1 micron carbon, or are you doing like 1.5?
Yeah, 1 and 1.
Oh, 1 and 1. And what were you using prior? Like 5 and 1?
Yeah. But
so 5, yeah.
But I'm just amazed how much quicker they clog from 5 to 1.
Well, it should save your membrane. I mean, it's all stuff that would otherwise have gotten
into the membrane.
Well, no, because the carbon will get it. The carbon's still 1 micron. So, yeah, the carbon, which, carbon's a little bit more expensive. But say it does get past the carbon block, then, yeah, your membrane would grab it. And, those... that's all about keeping particulates out of that thing. It'll last longer.
Nope, definitely.
A lot of comments are talking about tropic marin.
Yeah.
Marin, how you pronounce it. And, from the BRS study, that was great. But I had already bought a year's worth of Red Sea from Black Friday. So this year I might change and see how that works.
It's a good salt. It is. I've used it quite a bit.
I would use tropic marine, but it's too expensive.
Never used it.
I go through a box or a bucket like every couple weeks.
650 gallons, man. I can imagine. It's tropic marine comes from Germany, so you've got kind of the import expense on top of that one, and it's a very pure salt. Another good one that's I think is a little cheaper is that HW Marine or HW Reefer.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good salt. Clarity wise, when they did the salt tests or purity wise, it got it was pretty clean. In other words, it didn't have a lot of contaminants in it.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Well, does Red Sea come from Germany, or where's it coming from?
Well, their Red Sea's based out of Israel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know where the salt's made. I imagine. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's in Israel. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, so it comes from there.
That makes sense.
But they have a U.S. They have a U.S. distribution, so that's in Texas, and so I imagine everything, that we touch here comes through that Texas facility.
But originates from Israel.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it's made there. From what I understand.
Never knew.
Could be wrong, but
makes sense with the Red Sea name, though.
I know the brand is based out of Israel. Yeah. So it's HW Marine Mix Reefer Salt Mix. Yeah. So that one's a little bit better.
All right. Quick.
Hey Devin, how's your auto flush going?
I still on my to-do list. I'll go back to that soon. I have a tank beside me that I'm setting up soon, but the size was buggered up, so they're gonna replace it with the proper one. So I'm waiting for that, and that's where that project's gonna be on there, because it's gonna hook up to autofill the ATO and do all that jazz on it. So that's what I think will actually matter, because it's gonna be cycling a heck of a lot more. So soon. Quick shout out a minute ago, Patrick's Aquatic Super Chat. Thank you, sir. I have a tank with only a Hippo Tang. Will he kill any additions to the tanks? He's probably made the whole 90s territory. So most of the time, tangs are only aggressive towards themselves or other tangs. Usually it's ones that look similar to them where they're more rowdy with. So adding wrasses and stuff, I wouldn't worry too much. You're pretty safe there. But wrasses, just make sure you have a lid on it, because they're known to be good jumpers. Anyone on the coast use natural seawater? Nope.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. I did it for years.
Is it worth the effort?
Well, so in California, we had Scripps Institute where they had a tap. Where I was born and raised in Orange County, there was 2 taps that you could go grab it. There was one for a long time. It was really cool. You could go to this fish store. You had like a tap, just like you could get it 24 hours a day. So that was really cool. Saved my life a couple times. But yeah, I mean, when I just had better success, like when I started growing corals, and I kind of became in tune with, keeping elements and maintaining it. And then it was easier to mix at home, and I could, ensure the purity, ensure that I wasn't getting any bugs in the tank. I just sort of switched over to salt mix, but I mean, it worked, and I mean, at the time I grew corals with it for a year in like a small nano tank. So, I mean, we're talking a long time. We're talking 15 years ago. So at the time, I probably wasn't even testing all but calcium and alk and changing weekly water and, maybe doing a little bit of 2-part, but that was about it.
Okay. So you said you had a tap though. So you weren't actually going to collecting it. You had some easy place.
No. Like they had, there's a company that collects and sterilizes the water. And then down at Scripps, they had they have a pipe that runs out and gets it from deep, way offshore. And then I think it goes through some sterilization.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I've
but
heard
it works.
People
I mean,
going
if the question is, it works. I mean, it works.
Yeah. Okay, that works. Yeah, I heard people going with a boat and like collecting it. I'm like, man, that's so much work. Like,
yeah,
I feel like it's worth it by the time you.
I think the downside is what I've always been told anyway is like you gotta sterilize the crap out of it because there's so much risk of what you're bringing in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got pollution and everything else.
Yeah, that's what I would worry about. Anywhere near shore, right?
So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to go. I want to say like there's like certain rules. It's like a mile offshore is sort of like the closest you want to do anything. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. All right, would you do it again, or you're like, yeah, this makes it?
Yeah, I'd probably just mix it.
Okay.
Just because I'm so in tune with that process, and it just maintaining the elements and everything. I think is just will be a little bit easier. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's fair. How about you guys? Anyone else ever use natural seawater over just mixing your own salt?
I don't know if I would work through that much effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole collection part definitely turns me off. But I never had to do that.
I'm too far from the ocean to collect in Oklahoma. There's no oceans or beaches there.
Some oceanfront property. Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got a lake.
I think any water in Louisiana, I don't want in my saltwater tank.
Yeah,
yeah.
So.
I'm only 92 miles from the Bay Area, but that's a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, not worth it.
Not worth it.
I do, however, have mysis from the tank. Well, mysis, like PE mysis, is from my local lake, which I could like seal the windows. So that's the eat local.
Oh wait, so they collect like where PE collects is next to you?
Yeah, it's local.
Oh, that's so cool. So I did a video with Concordia University, and we went out diving, and I made a couple of videos out of it. You can find it on YouTube. But we ran into some mysis shrimp and collected a ton of it. We had a brine net and like jars and jars full of it. And then we went back and we fed all the animals they had in their lab with this mysis shrimp out of the ocean. It was the coolest thing. Like, I mean, of course I knew it existed, but I never had like come full circle with that and like collected out of the ocean. And then, they just took it right back and we fed it, and man, it was cool. We found an octopus and did all kinds of cool stuff.
That's cool.
That was a neat time. It was a neat trip. It was fun.
If I lived by the ocean, I'd be like all about the tide pools and finding little cool creatures and stuff. They're so fun to explore.
It's fun, man. I grew up with it, so it's been a part of my life forever, and I definitely miss it. But luckily, I'm going back. I go back a couple times a year, and so far, that's getting my rocks off. I'm able to go out and get in the water. And both times I've gone back, like I've got in the ocean.
Yeah.
I went fishing the first time, diving the second time. So.
Okay. All right. Saif was
I got a question for y'all.
Yep. Ask away.
You ever use a sulfur denitrator?
I have not. I know people that have, but I've not personally used it.
Any con that you know of?
They supposedly work really well. You need very slow, consistent flow through it, and they take a little while to kick in. If you have a big nitrate issue, I know Richard Back aficionado, he swears by this other one that he has. And it's like a denitrator, but it uses like an ethanol or something you put into it, and it puts water in and mixes with ethanol, and it basically clears all the nitrates out. Then you cycle that to your tank and refill it. He was telling me about this a while, and he's in love with it. He thinks it's like the best thing for nitrates. But
it's neat that he's still using it. I remember him talking quite a bit about it. But yeah, I mean, I've built a couple sulfur denitrators and helped people install them. They work. You just gotta, refill, top the media off, keep them clean. And like Devin said, they just take a little bit to kick in, but it's not just like any bioreactor like that. It's going to take a minute. But they're super effective. I would only say use one. It's not really like worth the effort unless you've got like, a ton of nitrate. And, just like everybody's having trouble with the keeping nitrates in their tank. Like our filtration's so strong these days. I think it was much more valuable, say 10 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago. And now like, we've got the algae reactors, man. We got these powerful, big old fuges, and we're realizing the whole like size of the fuge, in reference to the, how many fish in your bioload makes a huge difference. And I mean, now we're almost having the issues of not, filtering our tanks too much, like too strong. I see that a lot. I mean, you see it tons. And now, all the major manufacturers are selling nitrate and phosphate in a bottle.
Now, okay, so that's another thing. People always ask.
I can't get mine below 30. Mine stays at 30.
30 is okay though, as long as you keep it there.
I never thought I'd have to buy phosphate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For 15 years I thought it. Now I have to buy it. Really?
Yeah. I'm just a fan of feeding more. Just dump more food in the tank.
Yeah, so I'm dealing. A buddy of mine out here. His fellow named Justin. So he's got a tank, and he's got some. He's a good reef keeper, man. He's got some gorgeous SPS and everything, but he's running into can't get his nitrates up right now. And so, my advice, let's just feed more, man. Like, you can tell he's real meticulous. He's one of those, like, keeps it real nice and clean. And so I had him pull his filter socks and then turned his skimmer off, and still he can't get these nitrates to rise. And what happens is when he feeds mysis, and I suggested we're going to start doing a pellet because I think a pellet food will help with this, but he feeds strictly mysis. And the only thing that happens when he feeds more is his phosphates go up. Like, his phosphate will go up, but he just can't get his nitrates down. I think it originated with carbon dosing because he was doing vodka for a long time. And he got he gets that film you get with carbon dosing. But he's been off of it for a month. Like, he hasn't put vodka in the tank for a month. So you'd think it would kind of trickle off after that long, So curious to see how it goes, I guess the point there was, feeding more, I don't think is always going to, it will add nitrates eventually, I'm sure. But I think you're going to see more phosphate.
What kind of fish does it keep any? Or if any?
Yeah, so he's got anthias. He's got, they're small fish. He's got some clowns, 2 clownfish. He's got 3 anthias. He's got a couple more. He's got a little goby, I think. I'm trying to remember. I've only seen the tank twice. Yeah, no, it's just that many. That's it.
Yeah, that'll be the clothing section, which means that, and there's so much everywhere for clothing section.
Hey, Robert, make sure you your YouTube, I think. Or someone has the YouTube in the background.
Oh, that's not mine.
Do you
I think it's
need
other
to
Robert.
go in and get paperwork signed? Because I know Don was saying that on the 11th, people need to go in or...
It looks like...
Yeah, it was Robert. I muted him and went away. Was you, Robert? Other Robert. One of 3 Roberts. We got 3.
Oh, yeah, I know.
As well?
Okay, 2 other questions before these scroll away. I forget to answer them. So 2 people are asking about... Oh, look at that. A gift from Zoom. They removed our 40-minute limit. How kind of them.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
It is nice of them. Mighty kind.
Yeah.
Okay, Saif Khan was asking, what is your thoughts about the Reef LED? So that's Red Seas. I haven't personally used it, so I can't say 100%. It's very Kesselish, where you get either redder or bluer. And I've personally, I'm a techie guy. I like to control all my different channels and stuff. So I personally haven't used one for it, but it's similar where it's a bunch of LEDs under one dome. So it's similar to the Kesselish, and you're whiter and bluer.
Yeah. I think it's about the 50 to 90. The car doesn't go very far down.
Yeah, it's the Reef LED 90 is the one that they're asking about.
Yeah, because I tried it on my gun and it was right. Had enough power for what I need. SPS at the very top, there was no way I could keep it alive because it is very concentrated.
So it's too much light or not enough light?
Not enough light.
Okay.
I can't keep SPS.
It's top. There wasn't enough. So I went back to Radeon.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So
yeah, I've seen so many people selling them, Dev.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of them. So if that's a sign for anything.
Fair enough.
And I mean selling secondhand, not new.
All right.
Not a good sign.
Okay, there you go. So maybe if you're keeping acros, maybe go for something a little more intense. If you have an LPS tank, probably do the job for you. Terrence asking for the meeting address. That is on the Facebook group if you do want to join the Zoom. Oh, there you are.
Can I chip in a little bit on this nitrate issue?
Sure can.
I would kind of want to agree with the gentleman who made the statement. I suffered from the same with this tank. It's about 2.5 years old now. And I had a serious problem where I just couldn't get the nitrates up. And I'm not sure if you remember, Devin, Mark Cawthorn, he suggested that I turn down my skimmer for a couple of hours in a day, feed a lot more, and see how naturally to get my nitrates up. And that's exactly what I did. So I would tend to agree with whatever the gentleman said, rather than try and dose something from the outside and artificially create the nitrate. It worked for me, feeding the fish as well as turning down the skimmer for a couple of hours in a day. And I also removed my filter sock totally.
Yep.
And I then started getting a nitrate level of anywhere between 2.5 to 5.
Oh, yours are really low. Okay.
But whenever I measure it, it's somewhere in that range between 2.5 and 5. So yes, that trick works, and it has really helped me.
No, well, it makes sense, right? Just filter out less, and you have more lingering.
Most absolutely.
Back in the day, I used to have my skimmer on a timer, so I'd turn on at night when I was in bed, just because I didn't like the noise of it, and then the daytime would be off. So that whole 12 hours on and off thing actually was working pretty well for the tank. So
yeah, that's what it does. I have a Casa. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking whose tank that is.
That is mine. My name is Raj.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you.
Nice looking tank.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have a Casa power strip, and it lets you do scheduling. So that's how I managed to turn my skimmer off and skimmer on.
Like a timer.
Yeah. Yep. And if you remember, we also had this conversation around Tropping Marines, one of those products called Bio, whatever, I forget the name, where it also seeds in a certain amount of phosphate and nitrate and ensures that you never go out of phosphate nitrate. I just quickly can't remember the name of the product, but I'll kind of try and recall what it is. For that, I need to also turn off my skimmer when I dose it through my doser and keep my skimmer and the whole system off for at least 1 hour so that it doesn't get filtered out back by the skimmer.
Yeah.
And that trick has worked for me, and I have used it ever since. That's the only additive that I use, because it just lets me be in a situation where I don't become a zero phosphate, zero nitrate.
I've never had zero, but I also like shovel in the food in my tank. So it's so funny though, how our hobby used to be all about getting rid of the nutrients. Now everyone's trying to get them back up again.
True.
Yeah, as equipment, everything's gotten better and better over time.
True.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. Nice looking tank.
Thank you.
Okay, and another one. A couple of people are asking, Reggie was asking, what's your thoughts on ATI dimmable fixtures? Thinking about switching over my G4 Pros. Lots of people have success with straight G5 or straight T5s. Personally, I'd probably, if you're going to go that route, I'd do a hybrid and have the LEDs and the T5s, because I think you get better color pop, and then you get that for fill light. Personally, I just like LEDs on my tank, but that's mainly aesthetics. I don't want a big bulky thing above it. But I mean, either way is going to grow corals, and either way is going to work. ATI is probably one of the more popular T5 fixtures out there.
Oh yeah, they're the most popular for sure. In the U.S., that's all I know.
Probably everywhere.
I just went with a buttload of cheap primes.
Yep. How's the army of primes?
How's it working for you? Yeah, I was gonna say, how's that working for you, man? It's not.
I got 10 set. I got 10 on my tank right now, and I got another 4 to set up, and then I plan to get 20 of them all together.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that, man. They
my thought is they're only $200. So if it breaks, I'll just throw it in the trash and get another one.
Yeah, well, it's just not that hard to replace, you know. And I just love the control that AI has. They're so simple, straightforward, works.
Well, it's not $800 too if it ever gets in trouble.
Well, and when you have the individual puck like that, man, you can move it, spread it. You know, you can do all sorts of stuff, and we're finding a lot of evidence that, when you have overlap with the LED or it bounces off the edges, like you get these different par zones, and so having the ability to manipulate the way that the lights are mounted based around your tank, and then obviously what you're trying to accomplish, it's a big benefit, you know. In addition to the cost and the easy use and all the other good stuff.
Yep. Well, that's a good way to go. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out for lights now. Like, I know a lot of them are starting to go to that panel design. Like,
the panel.
The Coral Care, and I know the ATI's new one. Like, a lot of them are starting to go more to that blanket of light. So back to mimicking the T5s.
I know that's a
Do
lie.
any of you remember having the old school tech fixtures before ATI had their own fixtures? I still use
Tech.
one.
Yeah.
Tech,
Yeah.
What were the tech ones?
I do remember it.
Black ones where they had the German reflector, mirrored reflectors on it. They were supposed to be like the top of the line back then. I still use that thing.
Still works.
How old is it?
Yeah, it still works. I use ATI bulbs in it. But
You know the best part about my primes is I got a whole bunch of these.
How? All right. I like it.
Keeping Devin in business. Keeping Devin in business.
Commercial by Sid.
All right. Love it. Love it. Love it. How do you like them, by the way? Are they working well?
Yes. I mean, the Fuge ones I kind of knock off a lot.
Yeah.
When I have to get in there. But as far as the ones in my fish tank, I don't ever touch them, so they're fine.
I don't know if you have the newer ones or the older ones, but the newer ones are a lot stiffer, and like you can smack it and it doesn't budge. So.
I think I got the old ones.
Yeah.
It's like right when you first started advertising it.
Okay, yeah, you've heard of the old ones. All right, I'll have to hook you up with a pair of the new ones and let me know what you think.
Sounds good.
So Devin,
I need 4 more sets.
Yep. All right, see what we can do.
Devin, so you have the Gen 5s on your Peninsula now, right?
Yep.
And you used to have a T5 hybrid, if I recall. That
was on the tank that's beside me.
Oh, I see. Because before the Gen 5s came out, I have Hydra 26s with the actinic with the T5 combos.
Yep.
And man, the coral color and growth just took off.
Nice.
But I can't compare that to what the Gen 5s would do.
Yeah, it's hard. I had the T5, so I had the G4s mixed with the T5s, and now currently I have the Philips Coral Care that I'm trying out on the tank beside me.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely different. It's interesting to see how they see it. Aesthetically, they each have their own kind of pros and cons.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the T5s, though, with the LEDs, take out a lot of the shadowing. I'm noticing that Cyphastrias and other low-light corals can be back under the rock and still grow very nice with reflection from the T5s. There's just no shadowing at all.
No, exactly. Like they're a pretty good blanket of light, and that's the big thing, right? And you do get a ton of reflection off the glass. Like surprisingly, like even par testing a tank, if you have your par meter like beside a tank with a black background, you'll see much lower par than like the front or the side glass.
Yeah,
which is clear, and it's crazy how you can be like all of a sudden like higher up as you go lower in the tank. It's cool how it works.
Yeah. How are you finding the ATIs for that, Dev, the new ones?
I don't have the ATI one, so I can't tell you on that one.
I thought you tested them.
No. What do I have that I was testing out? I have Max Spec's new little whatever it's called, thinner light, and then the Coral Care Gen 2.
Devin, I got a question.
Yep.
Hey, Terrence.
Man, Terrence is all over the place.
Oh my god.
Stream day.
Am I on the wrong feed?
I
No, the question I have is
2 minutes ago.
I know. I run the Generation 1 Coral Cares on my tank, right? So, after watching your video and seeing some other things that are out there, with the US version, they're already rated at lower than the par level of mine that I have.
Yep.
So what's your experience with them, especially running in a more blue spectrum? Because I mean, what I'm hearing is not so bueno because the par levels are a lot lower in the, because you have to turn down the whites so far. They already only started 170 watts. So you're like putting out like 100 watts or 120 watts in the spectrum that a lot of people here in the US run. What's your experience?
I would agree. You basically have to run it at 50-50, which is both channels on full in order to get the full par out of it. But then it's
Have you put a kilowatt on it when it does that?
Yep. No, I have. And it's around that 160 to 180, 170, somewhere in that range.
It can't be 180 when you're running 50-50, right?
No, I'm sorry. It's kind of like Kessel slider where you pick blue or whiter. And if it's right in the middle, then it's full power on both channels.
Right, but when you run it to the color that you like, what's on the kilowatt? That can't be 170 because that's the max.
No, it's still whiter, and I am running it on the whiter side right now just to get the extra power out of it. Personally, I like a little bit bluer on it, and I would like to get a little more juice at that, but then I lose a bit of power from it. So I do agree with a lot of those comments on it.
I mean, the way to look at it, what I'm curious because I haven't run one yet, is get it to the way that you look at it, that you like to look at it at full intensity in the color that you like to look at it.
Yeah.
And then let your viewers know what the par level is, or sorry, not the par, the watt level is with a kilowatt.
Yeah.
Because that's how you really know how efficient it is. Like if at your color level that you like, it's running 100 watts out of 170 potential, that's just like throwing away, a big portion of the light, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why Ecotech made 2 lights that they did, right? It's a good reason. It's why the AI guys made the overdrive thing that they did when they did it, right? So I was just curious your experience, because there's very few people running them so far, and that's more or less what I've been hearing.
It's an interesting light. It's different. I like that there's no fans on it. I like that. Now the flip side is it's a bugger to mount it because it weighs a ton, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
and they do that because of heat sink, right?
They do.
It's like
it's
a
the whole
passive
light.
heat sink. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Look, I love it over my tank because there is the ones I have, the generation ones, my opinion, up until the Gen 5s, and then only moderately so, there's no light that can compare to what you get out of the ones that I have, which run, 200 watts, right? And I still supplement the ones I have with the actinics from the Reef Bright actinics on it, right? Because it still doesn't have enough, quite enough blue. But still on mine, like you said, I mean, each of mine weigh 22 pounds. And the new ones went on a diet, and so they only weigh like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So it's like they're pretty darn massive, but they run heat sinks only, and which has got some positives.
Yeah.
But then you got to run 2 wires out of them too.
Yeah, I know.
Do they seem pretty water resistant?
No, supposedly they're 65
they are.
or 67. You could dunk it and it would be fine. Like I've opened it up because I had to get my thing on it. It's silicone sealed all around the edges and stuff, and like there was.
That's good.
For
That's one of the
application. They're probably really good.
That's what kind of reason I wanted to kind of get them for when I upgrade is because the sharks like to splash.
Yeah. Now I have seen a lot of people that use them mixing them with T5, so they're going for that hybrid look, and it's probably to get that little bit of extra par and stuff out of them.
Well, I mean, the new ones, it's because of the par. In the old ones, it's because you really couldn't at all. They just didn't have enough of that oomph.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you got to mount those and you got to mount T5s over your tank, you can't even get into your tank. I mean, it's like
it's a lot. Like I don't know if you watched the second video I did, because I did a first video on it and I didn't realize at the time that my fixture was buggered. So then I got a replacement version of it. For whatever reason, my blue channels weren't outputting at their full potential on there. So I did a follow-up video and repar tested it all. Because after I posted, they're like, "Oh, those numbers are way too low." And I was like, so they replaced the light, and something was completely buggered with my blue channel. So something was dwarfed in the code.
So have you done a new video to show what the levels are?
Yeah, I did. I repar tested it all in that video.
And it's out there already?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was maybe a month ago. But yeah, I have a part meter. I'll test it later. But yeah, no, I do agree. It's interesting. I always feel robbed with like the Red Sea or the Kessels where it's blue or redder. Like I want to control all my LED channels rather than just having to be forced to pick that.
There's some truth with getting the best color, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean the thing is that what I like about the coil crews, I used to be that way too, Devin. But the fact is that I don't need to tweak everything because everything is kind of works.
Yeah.
And it got blue to white and everything in between. I actually appreciate that I never even had to have to think about it when I'm using it or setting it up, right? Because there's too many things that you can make a mistake on. I don't know about you, but most people don't have a spectrum analyzer at home to know what levels they're putting on what versions of those LEDs, and you can really hose some stuff up and not even know that you've got a lot of red or a lot of green for what you have and start getting algae and just, I mean, looking at Ryan's videos are perfect examples of some of that. So the ease of use, I think that they're doing and some of those lights are doing is really good.
Yeah, no, it's a big sell for a lot of people because a lot of people just want it to work and set it and forget it and not think about it.
You know what we need? So. We need that little spectrometer in the light or something, and then when you're controlling it, you can have the spectral graph right there next to the sliders. So then comparatively, cool. Comparatively what output you're doing, because it's all about the comparatively to the other colors, because that's what's going to manipulate your spectrum or get it off track, so to speak. So
that actually probably wouldn't be too hard. Like if the company,
I just think the problem is the sensor was up by the light. So
like,
yeah. Well, no, what Devin's about to say is, well, if the companies know what LEDs they have in there, then they should know the intensities when you move the slider up and down, and should be able to tell you. And and to a certain degree, that's true. But it as far as what is the right intensity and what is the right amount and everything else, trust me, it's not something that most people, even Devin, no matter what he's going to tell you, is going to know really.
It would be a pretty graph, and that'd be about the extent of it.
Yeah, you got more chance of screwing it up than you do of getting it right. And any of Ryan's videos kind of show that a lot on BRS, right, Robert?
Oh yeah, I like the one where he went through and he tuned each channel, like turned up the red all the way, turned up the green all the way. I think it was the one where he was talking about maximizing color or how to get one. And so that was neat to see how you get the different coral fluorescence or just the different colors of your coral. And that's just the way they appear. It's not changing the color of the coral itself. You know, it's the way that it appears to your eye. But it's interesting to see that that's how you can, where the benefit of adjusting a color slider is going to come from is to kind of get that maximum color. At the end of the day, though, like you said, if you can screw up more, and you would never know if it's just, you would never know that you're getting extra room. As long as it looks good, that's all that matters.
Okay, here's my personal selling point on this. Yes, you don't want to go to the extremes, but you can tweak things. And when you look at something, the color you're seeing is reflected back at you. So being able to individually tweak certain colors is going to enhance certain colors in your tank because it's reflecting it back at you. So there's certain ones, if you had certain corals you want to make one color pop a bit more, it gives you a little bit more ability to tweak that.
Yeah, but we're not looking at a Velvet Elvis painting here. These are animals, okay? And
pretty animals.
So the morphology of the animal actually is affected by these different wavelengths, and their tolerance and what they're able to tolerate is outside of the understanding of nearly every reef keeper out there in that regard. So what you might see visibly with your own eyes as a change in the reflected color could mean death. And especially with a lot of these changes that people make, they make them in a day, right?
And
so they go, oh yeah, okay, let's go see. Oh yeah, I like a little bit more red in here. That coral looks way beautiful. And it's like 3x the intensity for 3 corals in the tank that you didn't even expect. And then all of a sudden you have this random die off in your tank and you're like, I don't know, can I check my numbers? You know, and it's like, these are the kind of things that happen. So the more solutions that companies can come out with where people can have success out of the box and tweak the things within the realm of keeping them successful is where things need to go. I know that's my opinion, obviously, but I also, even speaking to Ryan and stuff like that, that's absolutely,
I'd rather just turn mine on and it work. And I don't like messing with stuff.
We are definitely getting there. I mean, like I know with like the Radions, for instance, when you first put it on, it's like, oh, pick your profile, what type of coral, whatever, and it does like a default template that's kind of like a proven
Terrence, you hit something there that it's different types of coral. This is the the classic mixed reef tank problem.
Oh God, yes.
You know, like they come from all
over
different
the world.
depths in the ocean, and salt water absorbs light, and that spectrum changes every foot, man. And that's why you have these corals that exist at different ranges, and they don't exist any deeper and they don't exist any higher. I think
not only that, people don't talk about the overall DLI of the light on those particular corals. So everybody talks about the PAR rating, like, oh yeah, I've got my PAR in my Worldwide Corals tank. I saw the video from BRS, and they've got that coral under 300 PAR.
Yeah, which is useless.
But the fact is that how many hours under light and do they have it under that? Are there shifting spectrums on the ramp up and the ramp down? And all of these things collectively determine what the actual DLI is, or the aggregate amount of photons that are hitting that particular animal throughout the day. And nobody talks about this, okay? They just talk about PAR, and it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
100% agree.
And it needs to be in the PAR conversation, in other words.
Well, it is the conversation. So there's two things, right? You can drive your car, for a very short period of time, let's say at 120 miles an hour, but you can't drive it all day at 120 miles an hour. And so with a coral, certain corals are going to be able to accept, say, a peak PAR and not die at, say, 700 PAR. But if you put them at 700 PAR, they can only do that for 3 hours. before they've hit their DLI for that particular coral.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not documented information either, is it?
Well, for certain corals, there is documented information in the wild. Dana Riddle has a good article on the studies he did on the Big Island with certain parietes and whatnot. And so certain corals, we understand that, and certain corals, we certainly could derive that. But moreover, having a relative understanding is really all you need to know. And people are not getting that relative understanding in a lot of today's videos and everything else that's out there. They hear about, well, I've got par on the sand bed at this, and I've told Ryan this straight up too. It's like, yeah, but what's really, is it for 4 hours during the day, or is it 8 hours?
Now, another really interesting kind of sidebar on this one is corals will grow differently doing the same thing. So, your DLI could be, 100 par for 10 hours, or it could be 200 par for 5 hours, given the same amount of light energy in the day, right? That's essentially what DLI is equating. But certain corals at high intensity for a shorter duration will have a different growth pattern than lower intensity, longer duration, which is kind of cool. Like, I find that really interesting how you can kind of shape your corals based on your DLI in the tank.
Totally cool. I played with that with zoanthids. It was the first coral that I messed with doing that, and got like the same from the same freaking plug, man. I got this zoanthid to look 3 different ways, like speckled, solid, and then basically brown, but still different,
Yeah.
But it is a confusion too for people. Like if Robert, you gave me one of those zoanthids, right?
Yeah.
And said, yeah, I keep all 3 of these zoanthids under 300 par, and then tell me the other side of that equation. And I'm like, yeah, I want the one with the speckle. So I take it home, I put my thing at 300 par, and all of a sudden it turns brown.
Yeah.
Right? It's
like,
because
why
you
is
only
that?
had one piece of that equation
Sure.
to get there. You didn't have the whole thing. And it's like, I don't know, when I see it everywhere, it's one of the things it's one of my pet peeves that aggravates me when I'm looking at lighting cycles.
Well, let's have the conversation. So, I mean, classically, like, I recommend DLI for people all day long. And I say, well, I run it for, have an 8-hour peak. Don't go over like 9 or 10. If you want to do 12, just, you're kind of pushing it there, but definitely don't go more than 12. So what do you say? What is the right approach, Terrence, to figuring that out? If you're hitting, the 150 to 300 range for like a mixed reef.
Well, what I did, for instance, I actually took, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I took the video that the BRS did on the Worldwide Corals tank. And there are 2 sections of that. One did the mapping of all the par. The other one, he showed what the light cycle was, right? During different parts of the day and when they changed it. And I was able to look at it, it was a DLI of about, I think 12 or something like that it came up with. So what I try to tell people with that is I don't think that it's not something like, okay, you're keeping SPS, get your DLI exactly to this. What I think it is it's moreover, because we're in closed boxes, right, of water and all the other things, is, look, I know Devin runs his light this way. This is his light period, and this is what his par or per, right, if you want to look at per, is, okay, for that coral, right, at its peak, and here's where it is in these other areas, and get his number and say, okay, well, that's a really good place to start. I'd like to run my tank a shorter period of time or a longer period of time, and I can adjust that out from that, from that aspect. Now, if I will pitch an apex thing here, okay, because I am.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Never.
I am still on the clock. The ironic part is there's actually a tool that allows you to do this that some people actually laugh about.
Does the PMK have DLI?
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Did not know.
So if you basically, DLI is a calculation, right? But it comes off of taking intervals, right? It's these integrals, right? Daylight
intensity integral
level integral, right? So it's basically looking at this and going, okay, we're slicing the day up, then we're taking the par in those days, and then we're coming up with a number that represents the whole thing. Okay. So when you look at your par chart in the apex, okay, it comes up for the lighting for the entire day, and you can select one day, okay? So there's a selection on the top of your graph for one day. It will actually take the par value for every measurement it takes, which by default is every 10 minutes, and give you an average par for the entire day, including the dark periods. So now you have a relative average par for the entire day, which isn't exactly a DLI number, but it's the same thing because it's just a factor off of it. You can put a factor onto that and get the DLI that you could compare to ocean DLI. But most certainly what I could do is run the PMK say I've got an A can in my tank that I'm running, and it's a certain color, and I'm running it under the same Radion G5s as Devin, I could take that and I could go look and I say, oh, Devin, oh, by the way, my average power on my Apex is 72 for the day for that particular one, and I'm running it under this particular spectrum in my G5. And if I give him have the same exact lighting experience with that information. Now, granted, there's some variances there, right? Which is you can't exceed the peak par, okay, on that coral in order to get there. So you can't, he couldn't run a 2-hour, light cycle at 1200 par
at every channel, 100%
DLI for the coral. But if he wanted to run an 8-hour cycle on his lights instead of my 12-hour cycle, he could adjust his intensity to account for that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That would work. That's kind of cool.
So that you could just use the fact amongst each other, you can use that factor that you're spitting out to measure DLI.
We've got enough anecdotal information from other hobbyists that grow corals in a captive box that's what we want to look at for success ratios.
I got you. Yeah.
Well,
because it's not documented, is it?
You could
every coral's ideal DLI, it just doesn't exist.
No, but we should make one though. Like if people actually calculate what their DLI is for certain corals and start building.
Everybody buy a PMK, put a tank with their Apex, and we all publish all of our numbers. Perfect idea.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's what it is. Is you got to put it out there.
Don't happen to have PMK.
I just got a PMK.
Works. But yeah, if you figure out your par at each chunk of your schedule, like every hour, this par, each chunk, and if you have like a ramp up, put it in the ramp right in the middle of it, and you'll get that. Or
50%.
You could calculate what your DLI is. I actually did that on my old tank. I haven't done it on the new one.
Yeah, and really, if you do it manually, it just matters on how many times you want to do that, right?
And that would be your factor. Yeah. So if you do it 6 times,
you could do it once during the day and you'd have a crappy DLI. You could do it twice during the day, you'd have a crappy DLI. You could do it 1,000 times and you would be burned out trying to get your DLI.
Well, once per hour, and just do it right in the middle of whatever that schedule is.
Yeah, that's certainly helpful. Yes. It's not great, but it's helpful.
Yeah, it gets you pretty darn close.
It's much easier to buy the PMK. You get it every 10 minutes, or you could set it to 5 minutes. You get like a really good, clean number.
But then you got to move it everywhere in your tank to every single coral.
You'd have to do that anyway with the par meter, except you have to do that and have to do it for every 5 or 10 minutes in order to get that.
Yeah. So DLI is good. I'm going to do a whole live stream on DLI and explain this because lots of people are probably confused right now what the heck we're talking about.
It's a very big thing because of daylight integral. It's like, well, how long I run my light, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little different.
The best way to think about it is measuring rainwater. That's the best way to think about it.
Like 8.
So if you think about rainwater and you're in the south, okay, you're down there where Robert is, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Down huge, right? The drops come down huge. They come down fast. And if you put a rain gauge out there, you have what the rain is over time, the collective rain, and that's what DLI is, right? The size of the drop is your par.
Yep. Your micromoles. How many micromoles per day are you getting in there?
There you go. That's a good analogy there, Terrence. Thank you for that.
Well, you can thank Dana because it's in his paper. So I encourage everybody to go read Dana's papers because they're not an easy read, but.
If you're feeling lazy, there's actually a good stream. I think it might be on the BRS channel from one of the back that talks about it too.
Yeah.
That was a decent watch. Very sciencey, but it was good. Gives you good understanding. Because there's a certain point where a coral will hit photosaturation and it will actually kind of shut down. You're just wasting energy and doing more harm than good. So that was like a big takeaway I got from that too. Too much is bad.
Yep.
You betcha.
You betcha.
I know.
I love it when you say that.
Do you?
I do.
Happy to oblige.
Hoser.
Yep.
Hoser.
There you go. What else we got here? I'm sure I missed a bunch of questions. But, okay,
y'all ever seen pods growing in a quarantine tank?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They grow wherever they can.
Yeah.
Dude, I have so many pods in my quarantine tank, I just noticed.
Mm-hmm.
If you're infected, you need to clean that quarantine tank now.
It's taken over by pods. Fish got no chance. Actually, it's snacks in there.
You got the crawling ick disease. That's what you have.
Oh, man.
The moving one?
all the freckles?
Just add some wraps to your quarantine.
Devin told me that on one of his videos. That's crawling ick.
This is a new thing. Terrible. Terrible. Garlic is delicious, actually. I like garlic. Delicious.
Garlic is delicious.
Yep.
Devin's like, get off my channel already.
I was like, it's all downhill now. It's in the gutter. I don't know. What else, you guys? Does anyone have any questions they want answered by a whole slew of people?
Do we roll through them?
I can't wait till Neptune comes out with a TDS meter.
Where's my inline meter, Terrace? I actually have seen a lot of people ask for that one.
Yep, they have.
Yep. Be great. Put on your ODI, send you a little alert. Oh, change your filters. All right.
Well, if you have a little bit of coin right now, you can do it because we do have a conductivity probe. So
yeah,
same thing.
True.
Spend a little more money.
It's true. I do have one of those actually.
But you'd have to get a probe, like an inline probe, to do it.
You'd have to have basically a cell.
All the plumbing.
Basically a cell. They make us independent
cell.
You can get.
Oh, right. Yeah, a different type of probe. Yeah.
I've seen one of those other aquarium controller companies. They got like one of those inline probe holders.
Yeah, they're pretty popular in China.
Actually, that does
slap a German label on it and call it from China. Call it from Germany, and you're good.
The question is, what isn't made in China?
This is true. There's a lot.
This is very true.
Yeah.
If you read all the DeWalt stuff, it's globally made with global materials, but obviously all the materials come from China.
Yeah.
DeWalt like power tools?
Yeah.
I guess I would have figured that. I never thought about it. But I have DeWalt tools.
Okay, K-Dub's asking, other than an emerald crab, which hasn't worked for me, what's the best way to get rid of bubble algae? I have a fox face, and he isn't getting her done. Honestly, Vibrant was the best thing that worked for me. But this was in a small tank, mind you.
How long did it take for you to see the kill bubble?
It was
2 months?
Month and a half. It was about 6 weeks, and it was gone. Like all the cracks everywhere gone. Like
I'm really seeing people talk about this a lot, and Vibrant is sort of this. It's a very polarizing thing. Just like some people just hate it, think it's the stupidest thing in the world, and other people love it. But I think what a lot of it is, super successful. It's just you're not given enough time. I think that's people go through the first bottle and they're like, well, it didn't work. It's like, well, that bottle.
I don't know. My fox faces love bubble algae. I borrowed somebody's rock.
That's great.
One time.
Yeah.
So I seen somebody posted
6 of them,
today.
and they tear it up so fast.
Nice.
Now there was a spiny lobster eating bristleworms, and I just thought that was so interesting. It's like, man, I've never.
I've seen that too. That was cool.
Yeah, that is neat. Go ahead, Devin.
I was gonna say I haven't tried this, but fluconazole or whatever the heck it is, the stuff that you fluconazole, thank you, which you use for hair algae or boropsis, supposedly at a high enough dose that will also take out bubble algae. I actually might try it in my frag tank just to kill off any algae before it moves to the new tank.
It does, but you need to get human grade stuff. So all the stuff that I've found from reefing didn't seem to work. As soon as I got a script from a doctor, it worked straight away. But this stuff's actually pretty good too. This Continuum Gen M, they've got a few different ranges, but this one seems to be about on par with Vibrant at getting rid of bubble algae, in my personal.
Nice. I have not tried that one.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper too. Well, it's a lot cheaper over here being in Australia. This one's only $20 as opposed to Vibrant's about $100. Little bit different dilution ratios, but yeah.
Nice. Huh. I will have to check that one out.
Is Terrence still in here?
Yeah, he's there. He's having a conversation with somebody else though.
Yeah.
What? I'm kind of curious about the probes for Neptune. Can you put those in a mixing bin?
What do you mean?
Probes in a mixing bin?
For mixing salt.
What, like a conductivity probe? Like what kind of probe do you want to put in there? You can put any of them, I guess.
Like a pH one and stuff.
Yeah, you can put a pH or conductivity or any of them, really.
Even while you're mixing, you think?
I don't see why not.
You just have a holder.
Are you talking about your saltwater mixing barrel?
Yeah. Putting probes in there.
My probes basically
just dangle and go in a circle. They do just that.
And I use a wave pump in my saltwater mixing barrel on pulse. One of the really cool things about the wave pump, just so you know, is that even when the water level goes down, it automatically shuts off.
I do appreciate that feature.
Which is really cool. So
those things move water, man. I remember when I first tested them.
Serious water.
They were so powerful, man. I couldn't use them in the tank that I think had that 80-gallon tank at the time, and I couldn't put them in there, man. Gnarly.
It's creative pointing if you put them in a smaller tank. But it will be interesting if Ryan tries that meter for flow and stuff, because that's a lot. No matter what cool, expensive gauge you have, to get real numbers is a lot harder than it seems.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's something. It's tough.
But I can assure you, if you used it with our pump, it would win. Just by the way that I know that the hydraulics work on our pump compared to other pumps.
Yeah. Okay. What fish eat tube worms? I don't know if any fish do.
Copper band.
Copper bands?
Copper bands.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. There you go. The only
I put my copper band in, and that's the way he survived the first couple of days. He just ate every tube worm in there.
I had beautiful feather dusters in my tank, medium-sized ones, all down in the dark areas of the rock and stuff. And I put my marginalis butterfly in there, my aptasia-eating filefish to get rid of all the aptasia and stuff. And boom, there was not enough. Another feather
single feather duster, yeah.
3 days later, they were gone.
Where'd they all go? Nice.
So was the aptasia, though.
Yeah, fair trade.
Yeah, really?
Yep. How is that product, the Refugium? Which, I don't know what project you're talking about there, K-Dub. Oh, Vibrant. Oh, I think he's asking, how is Continuum? Will it kill your Refugium? Like Shado or everything you got going on down there? If you're still in there, rookie.
Vibrant will, but I don't know about.
Well, they're all using a
Continuum.
heterotrophic bacteria, so I think at a certain point when the bacteria runs out of nothing else to eat, that's when it hits the algae, and once it runs out of bubble, it'll probably hit the Cato.
Yeah.
I think it just scavenges for whatever the easiest food source is, Because it'll that's why it takes, from what I understand, why it takes so long to work is it's going to blast through all the detritus and everything else in your tank that's easier and more natural for it to eat, and then it'll finally hit the algae. Again, why you got to keep doing it, because it doesn't reproduce.
Oh, is it just like one and done?
Yeah, you just got to keep adding it and adding it and adding it, and it just goes through all the food sources until it finally gets your algae, and then you dose enough to get rid of that, and
yep,
you're good to go.
Nice.
You're right. I don't know personally about refugiums because I don't run refugiums myself, but I have heard people being fine with it. But do your own research. It's not that hard to type something in and find it out.
Hey.
So I can't help with that one.
The mighty Google?
Yeah,
mighty Google.
Is it proper to say like Chado or Cato? I say Cato.
Tunza, Tunzi.
I know.
Tomato. Chado, Cato.
Do you know?
Cato Morpha.
Yeah, I think it's Cato. I say Chado, even though I know it's Cato.
Cato.
Yeah.
I say Cheeto.
And I also say Sice instead of Siche, and I feel bad for Steve every time because I say it wrong every time. And I know it's wrong, but I said that way for like 10 years. It's just ingrained.
No, but the Tunzi is actually Tunza.
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 Yeah.
So if you guys want to get a really good laugh on company corporate videos, and they set themselves up for this, go find the Tunza pump video for their Powerhead pump. It is you go to the bathroom before you watch it, because you will wet yourself. It is a really funny video because they take a little bit too seriously the whole idea of flow in tanks. I really recommend. It's
okay.
Devin, you've seen it, right?
I don't know. When
they're playing the violins in the beginning.
Yes. I've seen it.
I'll find it later. I'll post it once I find it.
It is so great. If they weren't German, you'd know that they were just trying to be kitschy and trying to make fun of themselves.
Right.
But they're not.
They're not. They're serious, man. They're
totally
dead serious.
Okay. Completely. Speaking of like the Germans and stuff, one thing that made me laugh, because I have like the NIOS torque reactor, and like I met all the guys from NIOS and stuff, and one of my buddies was with me at Macner, one of the shows, and he wanted to buy like the demo model at the end of the show, and he's like, no, this one's not perfect yet. He's like, I don't care, that's fine, I still want to buy it. And he's like, nope, this line and that is not perfect, this is not the production model. I was like, nope, I can't let it out. I refused to like let it go because there was like a few markings that weren't perfect. I just cracked up.
Was they like cosmetic, or was it
I think it was just a word to line it up or something. I don't know, but it just
Yeah.
cracked
Oh,
me
yeah.
up because it's like totally like the German attitude of like, nope, it must be perfect or nothing. I don't think they're German; they're like Swedish or something. But anyways, it just cracked me up. It totally reminded me of that.
Northern Europe.
German Swedes, they all consider themselves the same, right, Devin?
Well,
But
but just the
Americans,
fact.
you know, we've got the 51st state. You know, it's Canada. You know, it's just the way it is.
Wait, okay? Is there? Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Okay.
Please don't. Save yourself there. Just don't.
No, not even going there. It's a rabbit hole. Awesome.
We got any more questions? I gotta get out of here, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We'll give her a couple more.
Okay.
It's like 8:30 for Robert.
I know it's late.
No, it's only 7:30. But yeah, I gotta eat. I haven't eaten. I'm starving.
Yeah,
my kids are on their kids and mom are coming home soon. I've been at it since like 6:30 this morning.
Yeah,
Long day.
It's a good day. All
Yeah,
right.
it's a solid day.
All right. 5 more minutes. Caller.
So Robert,
Okay, what's
why
up, Terrence?
aren't we seeing live streams over on SPRS TV, man? What's up with that?
There's all kinds of live streams.
No, I'm not talking about Ryan's. I'm talking about you.
Yeah. No, soon enough, man. We're actually we've started some stuff this week, so I'm gonna start answering questions. Then they won't be live; they'll be recorded stuff. But you know, it's not out of the question. Definitely not out of the question. We've got a lot of things to handle, man. In addition to creating, you know, content that we need, sort of like live streams just for the fun. You know, it's possible, but I don't see it in my day right now, my work day right now, man, for sure.
I say you do something like this for all of your SPRS TV guys, man. That'd be awesome.
You know, okay, so you and I talked about it. We talked about doing they have those rooms, and I've got it noted out. And I think it would be fun, you know. We could do it. We could definitely do it. I just like the idea of hosting it in the group, you know.
Yeah.
And you could just like start the room, but then again, there's the whole like you can't stop everybody from joining, so there's that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
there is that.
10,000 people of chaos.
Well, I think there's a max number. It's just you can't control who it is.
Fair.
You can't control who gets that link. I think it's like, you know, you open the room and you post it, and then it's there, man. And so it's a two-way street at that point. I have to experiment with it. I mean, it's a new thing, but it sounds fun, you know.
I think your users would absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, no, you're totally right. We've got some cool stuff though. Like I said, we're gonna conquer those learning units first. So we're gonna get through that, and then you're probably gonna see more. I got a tank to do. I got to build that tank. So there's gonna be probably plenty of live streams with that. But the plan is, you know, I'll start pre-recorded stuff because, you know, I got all this other stuff to handle. But then in time, man, I'm sure it'll happen.
Awesome.
Thank you, Terrence. Appreciate you joining us, buddy.
Yeah.
One question for all you guys. How's corals going over there for the moment? Obviously not aquaculture, but how are you finding imported corals?
It's sparser than it used to be with the lack of flights is the biggest thing I notice. Like stuff is still coming in, and I know like a lot of wholesalers are still getting stuff, but they're just not getting as much because there's less airspace going around.
Pricing changed much, or?
I don't know. Neptune Aquatics here in San Jose is packed to the gills, man.
Oh man, you got to kick in, Dev. He's like all charging for advertisement. I'm joking.
No. That's Neptune Aquatics, not Neptune. Neptune Aquatics.
Okay.
Try to.
It's confusing. Yeah, it's confusing, but Neptune Aquatics is an amazing coral store. My in-laws live in San Jose, and every time I'm there, I have to buy up big.
He has probably, I think it's 1, 2, 3, at least in the front of the house, he's got at least 10 or 12 frag tanks. That, you know,
display tanks. Yeah.
Well, major frag stations that are then cut up themselves into 3. So, or to 6, sorry, 3 on each side. So there's like 54 different frag systems that are probably 2 feet by 3 feet. Then he has stuff in the back, and then he has an anemone tank, and then he has all the display tanks. He's got freshwater tanks. It's and the coral wise, he's just got boatloads of coral, man. Because he also gets it from other hobbyists too. So he's really good at pulling in stuff from other hobbyists like myself and whatnot, so that he always has stock of really great stuff, even LPS, everything.
One thing I'm really jealous of is you guys how cheap the mushrooms are over there. You guys think the acros are cheap over here, and they are, but in comparison. But mushrooms, man, we pay for recordias.
But
I'll show you, for instance.
You get dirt cheap micromeses or acans, so you got your own advantages over there. It's trade-off.
Yeah, but that guy there, guess how much?
How much?
That was 400.
What?
Oof.
That guy there.
Yeah.
Again, 300.
I was gonna say like $40.
Are those
That guy there.
Are those
400.
Rhodactis? Are they all Rhodactis mushrooms? Yeah.
That's a Recordia, but an Australian Recordia, obviously.
Oh, okay.
And they're Rhodactis, yeah. But that one's slightly got bubbles, but you kind of, it's pretty blue in here. But acans are one thing we get for cheap, that's for sure.
Oh my
Where
gosh,
is
look
here?
at that.
What country are you in?
He's Australia.
Australia.
Australia?
Yeah, we're getting a bit full here at the moment.
Oh, look at all that, Devin.
That's because you can't import you're not allowed to import any of the coralomorphs, right?
No, we can't import anything.
Right.
Literally any coral or invert. So fish we get in, but coral and inverts, algae, anything like that, no go.
Mm-hmm. So it all has to be collected locally, and that's that.
Locally.
Well, you know, you just happen to live by the biggest, most diverse reef in the world.
Oh, yeah, when you get a clearly Recordia Florida come in and you see it, the Recordia Florida, and they just look so much different. And you see someone advertising one, and it's like, that's not from Australia, that's for sure.
And it's illegal, right?
Illegal, 100%. People
the Florida Recordia.
Robert, remember when you could get like $3 Florida Recordias out of wholesale?
From Coral Morphologic, buddy.
Well, they were the expensive ones. There were other collectors down there that some of them I think went to jail. But
oh yeah. That was Recordia was like one of the Florida Recordias, man. It was like one of the corals that sucked me in. It was like that's what made me buy a reef tank, or build a reef tank. Was Recordia and a giant. So you know how frog spawn, the euphyllias will get like real fat, like they'll get all like the tentacles just get giant. Yeah. And a buddy of mine had one of those, and he had it like planted in the sand like a tree. It was like one stalk, and then it came up, and it was out. Nobody does that anymore, you know. And I just thought it looked like a Dr. Seuss book. Like when I looked at his white sand, it was like this tree, and then all these things on top, and then he had a little pile of Recordias, and within 6 months, man, I was buying coral.
It's like the gateway into the hobby.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody else having trouble finding decent sized fish? Seems like everywhere you go, there's only babies.
Yeah, actually, there has seemed to be a lot more smaller ones than bigger ones these days.
I don't know. My boss just got across it a hatch trigger that's about like that big. So.
Can you keep leopard wrasses in a bare bottom? Leopard wrasses do love bearing in the sand, so I would avoid that one, or throw a little container of sand in your tank for them so they have somewhere they can feel comfy and sleep in at night. Mine dive bombs the sand like every couple hours. I look over and just.
It's funny to watch them do
puff.
that.
Oh, yeah, you just see this big cloud, of stuff go up, and you realize it just burrowed in.
The mucus cocoons are weird too. To see that when they see it in your rock, that's kind of gross looking. But
yeah, it starts floating around.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like from the sixth slide.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, Robert's like taking this animal from the wild, sticking it in his tank, and seeing it do mucus and going, "Oh, that's gross." Imagine if a fish took us, stuck it in a box, and looked at what we did.
I'm so judgy.
Much the same, my friend.
Judgy. So just curiosity, leopard wrasses, do your guys' dive bomb as well into the sand? Like most of my other wrasses are fairly subtle, but the leopard wrasse, my tank will be crystal clear, also I'll look over and it'll be like a big poof sandstorm. Because he just literally 90 miles an hour just into the sand.
I think the first one I witnessed was a leopard. It was there's a couple different types of leopard wrasses. I'd have to look it up, man.
Mine that does it's the canary wrasse. The yellow wrasse. He does it all the time.
Does he? Okay.
He also tries to jump out.
Is it a canary or a chorus? A canary?
A chorus. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's a chorus wrasse. Yeah, the yellow chorus wrasse. Yeah.
There you go.
Nope. They're good ones. I like those guys. Good pest hunters.
They are.
What is the red leopard? God, what is it called?
There's like the starry one or whatever it is.
No, it's like rather than having like sort of white or green with black, it's like red. It might be what are the blue stars that they called it?
Something like that.
No, I have it's one that's got the same name as there's a butterfly fish that has the same.
Oh, okay.
Star.
Well, the males and the females too have different color morphs. Oh, here we go. I think. No, that's not it. That's some.
Yeah, like I think the females black and white, the males are more colorful, and then there's the blue star, which has some kind of weird bluey starbursty looking thing on the side.
Yeah, it's got some blue on it. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Just I think it was a male ornate. That was the word. Ornate. Yeah, ornate. That's what it was, and it was a male, so it had like a lot of red on it with the blue.
Yeah, beauty. Well, all right, guys. I think we will call it for today because it's actually been a decently long one.
I was actually thinking of the potters.
Potters?
Oh, yeah, like the angel.
Potters.
You know what?
Awesome.
Let me see what this thing looks like. I mean, they're common names, so it's hard. No, mine was the ornate, but Terrence, that is a pretty fish. I like the orange on it in the front.
It's great. It's a great fish. I have one. I love them. It's really cool.
It's cool.
Beauty. All right, guys. I'm going to call her for today because we've been on for quite a while.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Robert.
No problem.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks, Terrence, for coming around, buddy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining, guys. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe like every month or two, we'll do sort of a little random hangout one, and then in between mix it up with the more specific ones just for fun. Yeah.
I'll be here next month. What is it? 4 Wednesdays away. And now, since Terrence told me I had to, we'll probably do some live streams in Aspirus TV. So check Aspirus TV.
There you go. Perfect.
Bye, guys.
Bye. So as always, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and catch you